Lời đầu tiên xin chào các độc giả đã đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com. Khi tìm đến với website rèn luyện kỹ năng, chắc hẳn bạn đang mong muốn tìm cho mình một công cụ tốt nhất trong quá trình rèn luyện kỹ năng. Kỹ năng ở đây có thể là kỹ năng lãnh đạo, kỹ năng bán hàng, kỹ năng mềm, kỹ năng sống và rất nhiều các kỹ năng khác. Thông thường khi nghĩ đến việc rèn luyện các kỹ năng như chúng tôi đã đề cập ở trên, chúng ta thường hay nghĩ đến việc tìm mua cái đầu sách hoặc tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Nhưng trong cuộc sống bận rộn của thế kỷ 21, thời gian và tiền bạc là hai thứ luôn bị giới hạn nhiều nhất. Với sự ra đời của website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com, chúng tôi mang đến cho bạn một công cụ tốt hơn trong việc rèn luyện kỹ năng của mình, đó chính là các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng. Bạn sẽ không còn phải tốn quá nhiều thời gian để đọc sách hay tốn quá nhiều tài chính để tham gia các chương trình hội thảo. Chỉ cần bỏ DVD vào đầu máy, ngay lập tức bạn đã có thể tận hưởng những thước phim quý giá được chia sẻ từ các diễn giả nổi tiếng tại Việt Nam và trên thế giới. Website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cung cấp đầy đủ cho bạn các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng trên nhiều lĩnh vực. Tất cả các DVD rèn luyện kỹ năng của các diễn giả nước ngoài có tại website rèn luyện kỹ năng.com đều có phụ đề 100%, hỗ trợ tối đa cho quý độc giả khi theo dõi. Rèn luyện kỹ năng.com cam kết chất lượng tất cả các DVD khi cung cấp cho quý khách hàng. Với hân hạnh được phục vụ cho rất nhiều các khách hàng trên cả nước. Chỉ cần click đặt hàng, trong vòng 1 đến 3 ngày, bạn đã có thể cầm sản phẩm trong tay. Rèn luyện kỹ năng hân hạnh được phục vụ quý khách.
All those years ago, I never thought anybody would ask me for my autograph. Isn't it unbelievable? Just incredible. So, I stayed till midnight and signed my name, right? Because I never dreamed it was going to happen, but sure enough it did. Autographs and Girl Scout cookies. I'm in the market. I really appreciate it. Everybody doing okay? Say, I'm okay. Does anybody have 5 pages of notes already? Okay, I'm sure you're filling up your book. I appreciate that. Okay, we've got a couple of more subjects now to get through, and we got just about 55 minutes to do it. So let's get started. First, let's talk about my version of financial independence. You've heard from Brian. You've heard, some excellent advice. Dennis, these guys are long time experienced, and I'm sure you've got good notes on their presentation. This little bit I, designed long time ago. It's still valid today. Here's one of the major goals to go for, financial independence. Every American's right, privilege to become financially independent. So here's my definition of financial independence. The ability to live, and I'll give you time to write it down, the ability to live from the income of your personally invested resources. The ability to live from the income of your personally invested resources. That's the simple definition. That from the resources you've invested, the income from those resources, you could live. Here's one of the advantages of financial independence. Now you can work or not work. Or you can certainly choose the work to do. Now you can work by choice, not by necessity. And here's one of the best. To be able to work for joy and not for necessity. At first, of course, we have to work for necessity. But if you can finally reach the point where you can work for joy, not for necessity. That happened for me all those years ago. My father kept talking about financial independence, debt-free, no one having a claim on your assets, finally being able to live from the income of your invested resources. I remember the joyful day when that finally arrived. So what I've done now, most of my life, I've had the unique privilege of working for joy, not for necessity. Not that the joy doesn't bring you more income. Not that working for joy doesn't make you another fortune. It certainly has for me, right? Another fortune and another fortune and another fortune. But not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I work now for joy and not for necessity. key phrase to understand. We should teach this to our children. Economics is major. Everyone has to major in economics. Number one, for personal survival. To produce enough to take care of yourself. The first, economics. The next good phrase on economics, it's not what you earn, it's what you do with what you earn that makes the great difference in your financial future. All of this is determined by your own philosophy. It's important early, and kids have to have a personal philosophy working even when they go to school. Here's a good definition of your personal philosophy. A guidance system. Your personal philosophy is a guidance system. And it does simply two things. Helps you to see the opportunities, take advantage of those. Helps you to see the dangers, minimize those. And as we learn and grow, we learn hopefully early to spot the dangers so they don't overcome us. Hopefully we learn early to see the opportunities and take advantage of those. Maximize them if we can. That guidance system is like a sail on a sailboat. The winds are always blowing, favorable winds, unfavorable winds, stormy winds, economic winds, political winds. The wind is always blowing. But to arrive at a predetermined destination, it is not just the blowing of the wind that we have to deal with. Here's the major part, the set of the sail. The set of the sail is what you learn, gathering information from these 3 days. Talking to each other, gathering more information, filling up one journal, then another one. Information. Guidance on how to trim the sail, set the sail. The Sunday morning sermon, the lyrics of a song, the dialogue of the movie. Words put into good structure so that they deliver enlightenment, information, knowledge. And we use that to set sail. And it isn't that you set sail once and then that's it and it's over. It is a continual setting of sail every day, every month, every year. Setting sail economically, trimming the sail. For your good health, you just have to set sail toward the destination you wish to reach, having good health. Then it's easy to neglect. Then it's easy to slide. Here's one of the better phrases. Everything by longevity tends to get off course. Everything by longevity tends to get off course. When the early astronauts made those trips to the moon, on the way to the moon, here's what they had to engage in: mid-course corrections. They look at all the gauges, and some solar winds that they didn't expect has pushed them off course as they look at the gauges. Now they must fire the little rockets to get the spaceship back on course. And it's especially critical if you're headed for the moon. If you're in an airplane and you miss Los Angeles and, make San Francisco, you're okay. But you can't miss the moon. And here's why. If you miss the moon, you can't get back. So just put this little note now. It's a pretty serious note. Some destinations are critical. Speaking of going to the moon, we just celebrated that, right? Neil Armstrong and the others. I met Neil Armstrong one time, a little talk he gave. Neil Armstrong, here's what he said in his little talk. Going to the moon was just a matter of solving a couple of problems. I thought, that's a simple way to put it. Problem number one, how to get there. And then you just figure that out, how to get there. Problem number two, what? How to get back. That's problem number two, and you just solve that. Now he said it's also critical not to leave until you've solved both problems. I thought that was classic. Wow, speeches and information give us so much to chew on, right? Because you know what I did in some of my enterprises? I figured out how to get in. I didn't figure out how to get out. And some cost me more than I wanted to pay. Just because I, too quickly figured how to get in, did not figure how to get out. Whether it's a lecture like we've engaged in here, hours and hours and hours, or whether it's a simple sermon, one of the most classic sermons I ever heard originated not far from here in the Crystal Cathedral. I used to do little speeches for the Positive Thinkers breakfast meetings at the Crystal Cathedral.